Whew. Part 2 of my experiment. Can you save a squash plant, a zucchini plant, after squash vine borer damage? Look, the plant is not dead. That is a good thing. I found some stems that were kind of gross, so I took them out. But let's walk around and see if anything's growing and if anything's rotting. So, if there's already something that was rotting, it's probably going to continue to rot. Alright, so we do have a zucchini growing here, and it's not rotting. That's a good thing. There's some blooms, despite the damage from the squash vine borer. Okay. Alright, let's lift these up, see if there's anything growing in here. I have a butternut, but that's a different plant. I have some basil mixed in. Oops, I just broke a stem. That's the risk of playing around with these squash vines. Okay, so if we look at the vines, you can see the squash vine borer damage, but there are still fruits, squash growing. Here is another vine that looked a little sick. Squash vine borer damage. We'll see if anything happens there. Things are growing though. It looks bad and it looks good. So the diatomaceous earth scratches up the larvae and the soft bodies. Soft bodies. It attacks soft bodies. Well, hopefully it doesn't attack me because I have a soft body. Alright, here's another zucchini right there growing. This is a good sign. Stuff is growing. Stuff is also a little bit weird, like the blooms are falling off. I think that's normal. Okay, lift up. Knee crack, right on schedule. And come around the corner. Okay, stuff is growing still. It's not dead. There's a bloom on the ground that's gross. I'm gonna remove that. Remove anything you can find that's squishy. Please let there not be a snake where I'm stepping. Okay. And let's see what we got. Here's another area. Is anything growing? Yes. That's a squash. That's a zucchini. It's got a squishy bottom, but that's still growing. It's not rotting. Okay? Just the bloom on the end was kind of squishy. Alright. Anything that looks gross, I'm taking out. Any kind of leaves or blooms. I'm yelling into the camera. Alright. To me, part 2, this is working out. Okay? I would think. The squash plant has not died yet. That's the butternut squash in the back. Man, I've had to trim that or thin it out dramatically. Here is the straw bale garden growing great. I got tomatoes that I need to make sure that I pick up because they're probably going to get eaten by varmints. I'm going to pick anything that looks red, partly red, because they can ripen at room temperature without any loss of flavor or texture. So I picked these right away because I don't want birds to get used to the fact that I have tomatoes that are ripe and ready to go. Yeah, looks good. Alright, I'm one-handed. I guess I'll pick the rest of those, bring them in. I already have about 50 tomatoes on the counter. And we'll see how it goes. And here's another look at the straw bale garden. Growing really great. We've got more developing cucumbers, some blooms, and a bottle gourd mixed in. A couple bottle gourds. That's is that a bottle gourd or a butternut squash? I have no idea. Probably bottle gourd. But this is my makeshift trellis. I use deer fencing. Looks kind of junky, but I didn't realize that these vines were going to take over so much. And we've picked a bunch of cucumbers already. Here's another one, long one. Doesn't need pollination, which is fascinating. It's pretty cool. to grow versions that don't need pollinator. There's another one right there. Lemon cukes, my favorite, daughter's favorite. All right, well, part 2 of the Ron Denise round zucchini rescue mission. Yes, that's what we'll call it. And we'll see how it goes. Part 3 will be the final results. Is it going to be able to sustain more zucchini? I want another 5 out of this at least. It made amazing zucchini bread. It's so creamy and tasty. Great zucchini to give a shot, to try. And I mentioned before, I don't know, that this butternut squash is from the grocery store, and I just threw it in the ground, and I've had to take out all kinds of vines because it was growing over everything. All right, this is a bad trellising on my part. Yellow strawberry. More stuff I'll surprise you with soon. Okra in the butterfly garden. Yes, sirree.